Your physical independence is your single greatest asset. Every medical bill you avoid and every daily task you can still handle yourself keeps your hard-earned nest egg exactly where it belongs, in your pocket. After all, true financial freedom means nothing if you don't have the physical freedom to enjoy it. This video is not about going back to a harder time. Nobody wants that. It's about 21 specific habits that ordinary people lived by for centuries, that researchers are now finding may be some of the most powerful tools available for aging well after 50. Let's start with the first 6. Part 1. Principle 1. Walk before you sit. Walking wasn't exercise for most of human history. It was just how you got somewhere. To work, to the market, to a neighbor's house, you walked, because that was the only option. Today, a person can go an entire day without taking more than a few hundred steps. And for adults over 50, that matters more than most people realize. Physical inactivity is one of the leading contributors to muscle loss, declining balance, and reduced mobility in older adults. 3 of the main reasons people lose their independence. The fix isn't a gym membership. Walk after dinner, park further away, take the stairs, buy from a store you can walk to. Research consistently links regular walking with better cardiovascular health, stronger mobility, and longer independent living in older adults. The habit isn't new, we just stopped doing it. Principle 2. Lift real things. Strength used to come from daily life. Carrying water, chopping wood, working the land, hauling materials, moving things that needed to be moved. Nobody called it a workout, it was just Tuesday. After age 50, muscle mass naturally begins to decline. And when you stop using muscles regularly, that decline accelerates. Climbing stairs gets harder. Carrying groceries gets harder. Getting up from a chair gets harder. The answer isn't extreme exercise. Carry your own groceries, work in your yard, move furniture, add simple resistance movements a few times a week if you're able. Research shows that maintaining strength is one of the most effective strategies available for preserving independence and reducing fall risk as we age. Your ancestors didn't lift weights, they just never stopped lifting. Principle 3. Eat until satisfied. For most of history, food required work. It had to be grown, harvested, preserved, prepared, and meals were built around what was actually available, not what was engineered to be impossible to stop eating. The challenge used to be finding enough food. Today, the challenge is something completely different. For adults over 50, excess calories and ultra-processed foods increase the risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and a long list of other conditions that reduce quality of life. The prescription isn't a complicated diet protocol. Choose whole foods more often than not. Eat slowly. Stop when you're satisfied, not when the plate is empty. Research consistently links minimally processed diets with better long-term health outcomes and healthier aging. Simple, not easy, but simple. Principle 4. Work with your hands. Previous generations repaired things because they had to. They cooked from scratch, built furniture, sewed clothing, fixed tools, maintained their homes, grew their own food when possible. Because calling someone else to do it often wasn't an option. Today, the easiest answer is usually to replace something or hire someone to handle it. That convenience has a hidden cost. When we stop using our hands for skilled tasks, we reduce the kind of coordination, problem-solving, and fine motor engagement that keeps both the brain and the body sharp. For older adults, this matters. Keep building, keep fixing, keep cooking from scratch, keep gardening, keep making things. Technology should make difficult tasks easier. It shouldn't eliminate every reason to use your abilities. Principle 5. Follow the sun. Before electric light, the sun ran the schedule. People generally woke near sunrise and wound down after sunset because natural light was what told the body when to be awake and when to rest. Today, bright screens and artificial lighting can keep the brain activated for hours past the point when the body is ready to sleep. For adults over 50, disrupted sleep isn't just inconvenient. It affects memory, mood, blood pressure, immune function, and energy levels in ways that compound over time. The fix is straightforward. Get outside in the morning within the first hour of waking. Reduce bright screen exposure in the hour before bed. Keep a consistent sleep and wake time whenever possible. Your body still runs on a clock that was set long before electricity existed. Working with it costs nothing. Principle 6. Live outside more. For most of human history, life happened outdoors. Work, markets, travel, farming, community, all of it took place under open sky in fresh air with natural light and natural surroundings. Today, studies estimate that Americans spend more than 90% of their time indoors. For adults over 50, that often means less movement, less sunlight, reduced vitamin D, and fewer opportunities for the kind of low-level mental restoration that outdoor environments provide. The prescription isn't to spend hours outside every day. Walk through a park, sit on your porch in the morning, garden, take your coffee outside, find a bench. Research consistently associates regular outdoor time with better physical health, improved mood, and greater overall well-being in older adults. The outdoors isn't a luxury. For your body, it's closer to a requirement. Those first 6 habits have one thing in common. None of them require equipment. None of them require a plan. None of them require you to change your personality. They require you to stop outsourcing the things your body was built to do. In Part 2, we look at 6 more, including why growing food, repairing instead of replacing, and building stronger community connections may be more protective than most people expect. Part 2, Principle 7, Grow Something. For most of human history, people had a direct relationship with their food. They planted it, watered it, watched it grow, and that connection to something living, something that required care and patience and attention, was simply part of daily life. Today, food begins on a shelf or a delivery app. The connection is gone. But gardening solves several modern problems at once. For adults over 50, it provides gentle physical activity. It gets you outside. It keeps your hands and your attention engaged, and it creates something that's increasingly rare in retirement, a daily reason to show up and do something that matters. You don't need land. A few containers on a balcony, a small raised bed, a few herb pots on a windowsill. Research reviews on gardening among older adults have found associations with improved physical function, cognitive engagement, reduced stress, and better quality of life. Grow something, it doesn't have to feed you, it just has to need you. Principle 8, Repair before replacing. Previous generations repaired things because replacement was expensive, and sometimes impossible. A broken chair wasn't thrown away, it was fixed. A worn tool was sharpened. A torn piece of clothing was mended. Modern life has reversed that logic entirely. It's often cheaper to buy new than to repair what's already there, and so we replace, and replace, and replace. But here's what gets lost in that transaction. Every time you repair something instead of replacing it, you practice patience. You exercise problem solving. You use your hands in a deliberate, skilled way. You prove to yourself that you are still capable of figuring things out. For older adults, that matters more than it sounds. Fix something this week instead of replacing it. Sharpen a tool. Patch something. Figure out what's wrong before you throw it away. The goal isn't to save every broken object. The goal is to keep your problem-solving ability from going unused. Principle 9, Respect simple food. Traditional meals were built around what was nearby and what was in season. Vegetables, grains, beans, locally available proteins, foods that still looked like the ingredients they came from. Not because people were health-conscious, because ultra-processed food simply didn't exist yet. For adults over 50, nutrition becomes more critical with every passing year. The body needs adequate protein to preserve muscle. It needs vitamins and micronutrients to support energy, immunity, and brain function. Ultra-processed foods tend to be calorie-dense and nutrient-poor, exactly the opposite of what aging bodies need most. The prescription isn't a complicated protocol. Cook at home more often. Choose ingredients over products. Eat things that still look like what they were before they were processed. A simple meal made from real ingredients will almost always outperform a complicated diet plan built around packaged convenience. Principle 10. Embrace small discomforts. Older ways of living involved natural friction. People worked in changing weather, waited days or weeks for information, walked when driving wasn't an option, solved problems without immediate answers. Modern technology has reduced friction almost everywhere. That is genuinely one of its greatest achievements. But when every discomfort is eliminated, the body and mind begin to lose their tolerance for difficulty. And for adults over 50, that loss of resilience shows up in ways that matter. The prescription is not to seek hardship. It's to stop avoiding every minor inconvenience. Take a walk when it's slightly cold. Learn something difficult and stay with it. Do a task yourself when you're capable of it, even if someone else could do it faster. Small challenges remind your body and your mind that they are still capable. That reminder is worth more than the comfort of avoiding them. Principle 11, build your community. Human beings were not built for isolation. For most of history, survival was a group activity. Family, neighbors, and shared responsibilities weren't optional. They were how people made it through each season. Modern life has created more individual freedom than any previous generation has known. But that independence has a cost. After retirement, daily human contact can drop dramatically. Workplaces disappear, routines vanish, children may live far away, and loneliness, which is not just an emotional issue but a documented health risk, quietly moves in. Research links chronic social isolation among older adults to higher rates of cognitive decline, depression, cardiovascular disease, and early mortality. The prescription is intentional connection. Join a group built around something you care about. Volunteer. Create regular reasons to be around other people. Invest in friendships the way you invest in anything else you want to keep. A longer life is not a better life if you spend it alone. Principle 12, keep your purpose. For earlier generations, daily life came with built-in purpose. There were crops to tend, families to feed, skills to pass on, problems that needed solving by someone, and that someone was you. Retirement removes that structure. After decades of work, many people find themselves with more free time than they've ever had, and less sense of direction than they've felt since their 20s. This is one of the most underestimated challenges of retirement. The problem isn't having nowhere to be. The problem is losing a reason to get there. Research on healthy aging consistently shows that purpose, meaningful activity, and social contribution are among the strongest predictors of psychological and physical well-being in later life. The prescription is to build purpose that doesn't depend on employment. Teach something, help someone, build something. Volunteer for a cause that matters to you. Become the person in your community who shows up. A healthy retirement is not simply the absence of work. It is the presence of meaning. The pattern across these first 12 principles is clear. Healthy aging was never the result of an expensive product or a complicated system. It was the result of ordinary life, done consistently, with movement, connection, skill, and purpose woven into every day. The final 9 principles go deeper. They protect something that matters just as much as physical health after 50. The mind, the independence, and the sense of self that make life worth living. Part 3. Principle 13, practice patience. Previous generations lived in a world built around waiting. Food took months to grow, letters took weeks to arrive, skills took years to develop, and nobody expected any of that to change. Modern technology has redefined waiting as a problem to be solved. Instant delivery, instant answers, instant entertainment. The expectation of immediate results has become so normal that slow progress can feel like failure. For adults over 50, that shift has a quiet cost. When the mind is trained to expect instant feedback, it becomes harder to stay with difficult things, harder to focus deeply, harder to find satisfaction in gradual progress. The prescription is simple. Allow yourself moments without a screen, a solution, or a next step. Read a book slowly. Learn a skill that takes weeks to improve. Sit with a problem before immediately reaching for an answer. Patience isn't passive, it's a practice. And for a generation that built entire lives through sustained effort, it's one of your greatest natural advantages. Principle 14, own less, use more. Earlier generations owned fewer things, not because they were disciplined minimalists. They owned less because resources were limited, and everything cost real effort to acquire. What they owned was maintained, repaired, used until it couldn't be used anymore. Modern consumer culture has inverted that relationship entirely. Accumulation has become a reflex. More possessions, more subscriptions, more things that require maintenance, storage, and mental overhead. For retirees living on fixed incomes, unnecessary spending isn't just wasteful. It creates financial pressure at exactly the time when financial breathing room matters most. The prescription isn't extreme minimalism. It's intentional ownership. Keep what genuinely serves you. Let go of what creates stress or sits unused. Spend on experiences, relationships, and health rather than accumulation. A simpler life is often a clearer one, and a clearer one is usually a less expensive one. Principle 15, stay curious. Older generations didn't stop learning when they got older. They adapted to new tools, learned new skills when circumstances demanded it, passed knowledge in both directions, teaching what they knew while absorbing what was new. Today, that pressure to adapt has never been greater. Artificial intelligence and automation are changing how people work, communicate, manage finances, access healthcare, and navigate daily life. The pace of that change is not slowing down. For adults over 50, staying curious isn't optional anymore. It's a form of self-protection. The prescription is to remain a student. Learn how a new technology works before deciding it's not for you. Read something outside your usual topics. Develop a skill you never had time for during your working years. Research on lifelong learning in older adults has found positive associations with psychological well-being, autonomy, and active aging. The world will keep changing whether you engage with it or not. Curiosity is what keeps you in the conversation. Principle 16, adapt, don't resist change. Every generation has faced disruptive change. New machines replaced old trades. New systems made familiar skills obsolete. People who had mastered one way of doing things had to learn another. What's different today is the speed. AI, automation, and digital systems are transforming daily life faster than most people anticipated. And for older adults, that pace can feel overwhelming. But here's what the research on successful aging consistently shows. Adaptation has always been a core human survival skill, and age does not diminish that ability. Refusing to try does. The prescription isn't to master every new technology. Stay open, learn the basics of tools that affect your daily life, ask questions when you don't understand something, let younger people teach you things, while you share the wisdom and perspective they genuinely cannot replace. You are not outdated. You are experienced, and experience combined with openness is one of the most powerful combinations available. Principle 17, serve something greater than yourself. Traditional communities were built on contribution. Neighbors helped neighbors, families worked together, skills and resources were shared because survival depended on it. That culture of contribution created something beyond practical benefit. It created identity, it created belonging, it gave people a clear answer to the question, why does what I do matter? Modern retirement can quietly strip that away. More freedom, fewer obligations, and sometimes, less reason to feel needed. The prescription is service. Volunteer your time, mentor someone younger, help a neighbor who can't help themselves, share your professional experience with someone just starting out. Your value does not expire when your career ends. In fact, decades of hard-earned experience may be more valuable now than at any other point in your life. Studies consistently show that social participation, meaningful contribution, and purposeful connection are associated with better health outcomes and greater well-being in older adults. Being useful is not just good for others. It is one of the most protective things you can do for yourself. The final 4 principles bring everything together. Independence, resilience, connection, meaning. These are not the outcomes of a supplement or a program. They are the outcomes of how you choose to live every single day. Part 4. Principle 18, protect your independence. For earlier generations, independence wasn't something you worked toward. It was something you maintained because daily life depended on it. People cooked their own food, managed their own homes, fixed what broke, solved problems without outsourcing them, not because they were self-reliant by philosophy, but because that was simply how life worked. Modern technology has made it possible to get through an entire day without doing almost anything for yourself. And that convenience is genuinely useful. But there is a risk built into it. When we consistently stop doing things because a machine or a service can do them instead, we gradually lose the physical and cognitive abilities those activities were maintaining. For adults over 50, independence is not just a lifestyle preference. It is one of the most important indicators of long-term health and quality of life. The CDC defines healthy aging as maintaining the physical, mental, and social capacity to live on your own terms. The prescription is to keep doing what you are capable of doing. Prepare your own meals when you can, handle your own tasks, keep learning new skills, challenge yourself safely and consistently. Don't give away your independence before you have to. Principle 19, value people over things. For most of human history, relationships weren't a wellness strategy. They were survival infrastructure. Neighbors helped each other through hard seasons. Families worked together on tasks no one could manage alone. Communities were built on genuine mutual dependence. That dependence created deep connection. Modern life offers remarkable convenience and extraordinary individual freedom, but it can also produce something no previous generation had to manage at scale. Isolation by choice. Technology now makes it possible to meet almost every practical need without meaningful human contact. And for older adults, that possibility can become a quiet reality. After retirement, daily interactions that were once automatic, colleagues, clients, commutes, routines, disappear. And if they aren't intentionally replaced, the resulting isolation carries real health consequences. The prescription is to invest in people the way you invest in anything else that matters. Call someone who would be glad to hear from you. Visit someone who doesn't get many visitors. Join something. Share a meal. Create regular moments of real connection. A longer life is only more valuable if it remains connected to others. Principle 20, stay useful. Perhaps the most consistent finding across research on healthy aging is this. People who remain useful live better. Not just longer, better. They have lower rates of depression, stronger cognitive function, greater resilience, more reasons to stay physically active, and a clearer answer to the question that becomes harder to answer after retirement. What am I here for? Previous generations didn't retire into uselessness. Age didn't make them invisible or irrelevant. They taught skills, raised grandchildren, helped neighbors, solved problems, contributed to the life of the community around them. That model didn't disappear because people got older. It continued because people kept showing up. The prescription is simple. Find where your knowledge, your skills, and your time can help someone. Mentor a younger person in your field. Volunteer for an organization that needs what you know. Support your family in practical ways. Share what took you decades to learn. Your career ending does not mean your contribution ends. It means it changes shape. Principle 21, remember what technology is for. The old ways of living were not perfect. People faced hardship, uncertainty, illness, and limitations we would never want to return to. Modern technology has given us genuine gifts. It saves time, reduces suffering, makes information available to anyone with a connection, extends life, opens possibilities that previous generations couldn't have imagined. The goal of this video was never to argue against any of that. The goal was to point at something that can quietly disappear inside all that convenience. Movement, purpose, connection, skill, resilience, the daily practice of being capable and useful and present in the world. These are not things a machine can give you. They are things that have to be lived. And the research keeps returning to the same conclusion. The healthiest people aging after 50 are not the ones who found the best supplement or the most advanced fitness tracker. They are the ones who kept moving, kept learning, kept connecting, kept contributing. They are the ones who remembered that a longer life is only worth having if it is also a full one. These are the 21 forgotten habits modern science is rediscovering. And every single one of them is still available to you, starting today. If that's the kind of content you're looking for, practical ideas on health, money, and independence after 50, subscribe. We put out new videos every week, and there's a good chance the next one is exactly what you need to hear.